Hi everyone, I'm Jessica James and welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. The Presque Partnership is a nonprofit organization established in 1994. Their mission is to enhance the Presque visitors' experience by developing, funding, and implementing projects and programs on the park while protecting the natural environment. Since its inception, the partnership has raised funds for a variety of enhancement projects at Presque, and the energy of the partnership is focused on making the visitor experience at Presque an enjoyable one. Joining me today to talk with us about their upcoming summer events is the Executive Director, John DeMarco. John, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio today.
Hey, thanks for having us, Jesse. I'd love to talk about the partnership and all that we do on our beautiful Presque.
Wonderful. I'm so glad we could steal you away. I know you have a beautiful view down there, but since you're here, why don't you tell us what is Presque Partnership to you and why does it exist?
Well, I think you said a lot of it in your intro. That is our mission statement, to enhance the visitor experience at Presque State Park. Everything we do is to enhance that experience and to make the park the best park it can be. We do that in a variety of ways, through events, through membership of the Presque Partnership, through grant funds like the Erie Community Foundation and the Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority, private donors, sponsorships. We sell a Presque license plate, which benefits the Presque Lighthouse. So there are a lot of great ways that we work to improve the park and kind of pick up where the state leaves off funding-wise.
Right, right. And I do. I love your organization. I always, email you and ask you when your next big event is or if you guys need help. I know that you always have volunteers and we'll talk about that. But how is the partnership structured? I mean, you're fairly new to the organization. I know that we actually used to work side by side back in our earlier years, but now you are the executive director. So how is it structured now?
Well, the partnership is comprised of a board of directors, a 22-member board of directors. It's a very hardworking board. With the number of events that we do, it is very labor-intensive in setting up these events. So we have a very, very strong board and a dedicated board to Presque. There is myself, the director. There is a full-time events coordinator. And then we also operate the gift shop, gallery and gift shop inside the Tom Ridge Environmental Center. That was formerly the Nature Shop. We have since changed the name to Presque Gallery and Gifts. So it is structured with three full-time employees and volunteers and some part-time employees as well.
That's wonderful. And what is your relationship with the other, DCNR staff or the other nonprofit organizations? Because you're actually located out of the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, and that's actually what I meant when I was working for Environment Erie. There's a honeycomb of cubicles at the Tom Ridge Center, and so when I was working at Environment Erie, my back was facing your back at the Presque Partnership. So how does your relationship? How did it change, or how is it with all of the other organizations in that honeycomb?
Well, we are so fortunate to have such a great co-working space at the Tom Ridge Environmental Center. There's a variety of organizations like Environment Erie, like DEP, Purple Martin Conservation Association, you name it. There are a number of organizations that really work to improve the environment, raise awareness about the importance of preserving our environment, our water quality. We are the Presque Partnership, and we wouldn't exist without those wonderful partnerships, especially with DCNR, with the number of events that we do and our close working relationship with them. They help us execute 100%. And when we need something, it's so great to be in that co-working space where the person you need to talk to is right down the hall. So it's a really important symbiotic relationship where everybody benefits.
Right, right. And I know we've been in on a lot of newer meetings based on improving recycling at Presque, and so you're very much active in that. And like you said, the DCNR is right there on the ground, boots on the ground, making sure that this all flows smoothly. But you're right, they're a wonderful organization to work with. And it's just it's such a nice web there. We've got PAC grant, the Purple Martin Society, Environment Erie. There's so many different organizations.
Autobahn.
Yeah.
I mean, just a great variety of different organizations. And as the partnership, we do many different events to promote Presque, so it's easy to pull in those groups where we might not have a strength. like bringing in Millcreek recycling program and you guiding us and how can we improve recycling at our events and on the park overall and in the community, get people thinking that way.
Right. And everybody has the same end goal in mind.
Exactly.
Right. So what are your signature events that I love so much? You go ahead and name a few and then we'll dive in and talk about each one.
Well, we do have plenty of events. Some of them have a certain shelf life which we don't offer anymore. But our staples are, of course, a new event that we have. It's called the Presque Poker Paddle. It's a poker run through the lagoons on kayaks, canoes, and stand-up paddle boards. And you stop at a different stop, pick up your card, and there's a prize for the best poker hand, and then the after party at Millcreek Brewing Company. So that was a fun first event. We had about 100 boats. It was excellent.
And I'm glad you explained that because I actually, this sounds silly, I've never heard of a poker run or a poker paddle before, and I didn't know how it works, so I had to get online and get on your website and read all about it. And I was so mad I missed the event. I was out of town that weekend, but it looked like a lot of fun.
It was a great response, and I guarantee we'll be doing another one this year.
Good, good. I'm so glad.
Yes.
What else do you got going on?
And now we're into the UPMC Sunset Music Series season, where we have 6 Wednesday night concerts on Beach 1, 5:30 to sunset. They're free to the public. We have 2 bands each night. That has been a very popular event. Of course, we have 8th grade Tuesdays on Tuesdays. Now we have sort of that summer staple on the beach on Wednesday nights.
Right.
So that's a wonderful event. And thank you to our supporters at UPMC Ham and UPMC Health Plan for really giving us the support we need to be able to pay those bands too, but keep it free for everybody. Coming up here, we have the Bay Swim. That is a 1-mile swim across the bay. It's at our 9th annual, and it celebrates the improved water quality of Presque Isle Bay. We have, of course, Discover Presque Isle, which I will talk about further after I get through some of these other events. We started some fall events. We do a fall foliage wagon ride, horse-drawn wagon rides around certain areas of the park, because the foliage in the autumn is beautiful, beautiful. And that's something we really like to do. We used to be so much focused on summertime events, but Presque Isle is beautiful throughout all the seasons.
It is, and I'm glad you touched on that because I know that you did implement the fall foliage wagon ride, which I love the pictures. You know, I mean, those are some of those staple events where you think about, you know, Presque Isle, and for me, that's what I think of now. And then you've also got the new Christmas event, Christmas time, winter time event. What is that one called?
Yes, we named that one Presque Isle Snow Day. It started as more of a Christmas-themed event. We moved that to February, right around the time of the Joe Roots Frostbite Open. So that this Presque Isle Snow Day is more of a wintertime Discover Presque Isle. So things like snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, ice sculpting, ice fishing, anything one could think of that they could do.
Dog sledding? Was
Dog
that right?
sledding
Okay.
demonstrations.
Wonderful.
It was just a phenomenal turnout, and I guarantee that will be a recurring event in the wintertime. The Joe Roots Frostbite Open has been a great partnership with Joe Roots Grill. It's a 9-hole golf tournament on Presque Isle Bay when it's frozen. When the bay is not frozen, of course, we go over to the beach side, and there's an after party at Joe Roots. So that's a great relationship that we've formed, and people really come to love that. It's kind of like a, yeah, I did that kind of event where people could talk about it. And
I did it actually.
Yeah, you did it.
I did it, and it was the year that the bay did not freeze over. So we did it on the sand, and I have to tell you, I don't know why it didn't freeze over. I think we picked the coldest day to do that, but it was so much fun, and we were laughing so hard. You know, your face is frozen, but we were laughing so hard because you go and you hit the golf ball, and because of where the sand lays and where the snow lays, you just don't know where it's going to roll to.
No.
So we were cracking up the whole time. It was so much fun.
Now, on those years when it has to be played on the sand, we dub it the world's largest sand trap.
Yes, it is. It really is. And because when you weren't getting snow, when you weren't chipping snow, you were chipping sand. But you give away a lot of good prizes during those too. I mean, you've got hot chocolate and coffee there, but you know, we ended up with a little thermos and, like you said, a nice meal provided and party provided by Joe Roots. That was wonderful. That was a really fun event for us.
Yeah, we really enjoyed coming up with new, fresh ideas, fundraisers to get people out to the park and experience the different seasons. We also do the Presque Isle Triathlon, which is a swim, bike, run, starting and transitioning and finishing all at the Waterworks area. And that is limited to 450 people, and it sells out every year. It's great for first-time triathlon entrants or very seasoned triathletes.
And with that one, and I don't know if it's still like this, can you split that up? So maybe I can't do the entire triathlon. Can you break that up into sections and, give a friend the bicycling portion and you take the running portion?
Exactly.
Can you do that?
Or like you could do the running and cycling and I could do the swimming, although I'd
Perfect.
probably drown.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you can mix it up. That's the relay entry, and that event is always in August.
Right, so we'll find an old high school swimmer, and they'll do that portion of it, and then we'll take the other two, because I don't think I could swim that far either.
Another event that's been very, very popular is, of course, the Best Summer Night Concerts on Beach 11.
And you're still doing those?
We did one in 2012, then we skipped a year. We did one in 2014. That was Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and then it was Steely Dan.
Right.
Technically, this year, 2016, would be a year for Best Summer Night, but it's a tall ships year.
Right.
There's a lot going on. It is a big celebration for us for the partnership and Discover Presque Isle. So we decided to focus our energy on that and forego Best Summer Night this year. But planning is in the works for another one.
For next year.
We hope to do one next year. I'm not saying officially we will, but we're exploring our options.
Right.
The industry is pretty chaotic, and we're kind of new to it, but we have great support on board.
And that does take an entire year or even 2 years to plan a huge concert like that. There's so many little logistics that, behind the scenes that you wouldn't even think of. Little things like parking or trash removal, recycling. There's so many things that go into it. You need that length of time to plan it.
Exactly, and you're talking about a beach here. It is literally on the sand, and there's no infrastructure.
Right.
That beach was not put there or formed to host concerts, so you got to think about every single infrastructure. Lighting, sound, how do we get transportation, so many different facets.
Right.
So it's a challenge, but we have, like I said, a very dedicated group of board members, volunteers, which none of our events, none of our success, we would never see any of that success without just such dedicated volunteers and people that love Presque Isle so much.
So true, so true. And I've gone to a lot of your events, and like you said, they're sold out, they're jam-packed, they get a really good response. So you guys are doing a good job.
Yes, working on it, and we're always looking for ways to improve. And it's very easy for someone to call up the partnership. You can reach me easily, just ask for John, and just I'm here to talk to you, here to see what you think we can do better on Presque Isle.
Right. Just pick up the phone and give you a call, and you're there to answer some questions. So I understand this year marks the 25th anniversary of Discover Presque Isle, which I volunteered at, and it's a lot of fun. But how did it start? How did the first year start, and what can visitors expect this year? Because I know every year, you grow, it changes, and it molds. So what can we expect this year too?
Well, Discover Presque Isle started in 1993. It evolved from an event that took place in 1992, and the credit really goes to members of the Presque Isle Lifeguard Association who saw a need for funding outside of the state realm, and they started in 1992 March for Parks. It was a march around the park and seeing different areas of Presque Isle. So you kind of wore Discovering Presque Isle on the walk. Now after that event, members of the Presque Isle Lifeguard Association, like John Myrick, Bob North, Bill Holter, Tom Agresti, they said, hey, we need to kind of separate ourselves from this, and we have something good here. And then they came up with Discover Presque Isle. So it started as March for Parks and evolved into Discover Presque Isle. So now we're saying we're in our 25th year, essentially. So that's how it all started. And Presque Isle Partnership got involved in 1995 with the former director, Don Guerin. And then Steve McDermott picked up, and then I picked up. But it has really just grown tremendously over the years. We're accepting over, I think, 120 vendors.
Wow.
We have over 20 food vendors this year. There's so much to do, like music and bonfire and sand sculpture competition. That was normally at Beach 8. We're moving that to Beach 1 this year.
Okay, so it'll be closer to...
It'll be closer to the head of the park. You won't have to battle too much traffic getting in if you just want to come and see the sand sculpture competition or the music and bonfire.
Yeah.
Right there at Beach 1. The vendors and all that fun stuff is going to be still at the Waterworks area. There's going to be an EVP volleyball tournament actually at Beach 11. So they're looking at between 100 and 110 pro and amateur teams coming out there, and that's a great thing for spectators to come and see.
And how do you enter? I mean, if you want to join the volleyball competition, can teams enter into that?
Yes, there's actually two. One that's been happening at Discover Presque Isle for forever, and that's the Smith's Hot Dog Volleyball Challenge at Beach 6.
Okay.
The other one is more of a corporate deal, the EVP, and that's on the EVP website. But if you would like to sign up for the one for Discover Presque Isle, that is on our website at discoverpi.com.
I love beach
Yeah.
volleyball. Oh my gosh, if that's not something I absolutely love to do. It's so much fun playing in the sand and, you know, diving for the ball, but I love beach volleyball. So that's probably a special pastime for me.
Yes, and I did want to mention some other improvements to Discover Presque Isle, specifically more of a natural history science side that I think Discover Presque Isle has maybe been lacking in the last few years. When you come down to Discover Presque Isle, you want to discover as much as you can. So we've teamed up with PAC Grant and rolled in their event called Hidden Treasures of Presque Isle into our event to make one weekend where you can just come down, have all the fun stuff, but then learn about all the citizen science, like learn about the purple martins, learn about the harmful algal blooms, learn about the different moths and reptiles of Presque Isle. You can come out in the evening time and look through telescopes and look at the stars. So if you've always wondered, you know, what's the science aspect of it, what sort of research has been done on the park or is ongoing on the park, we've incorporated that into this event thanks to PAC Grant.
Yeah, I love that. I love that spin on it. Like you said, you're always growing and shaping it. And I love that you've incorporated something, you know, educational, because you get down there and you want a fun weekend, but, you know, Presque Isle is so much more. It's this gem, and I guess it's not a hidden gem, but it's there, and we're so lucky to have it. You know, everybody should know, you know, all the species of birds that are there, or, you know what, you know, the harmful algal blooms are doing, and, you know, how to protect ourselves or what to look out for. Don't let your dog swim in them. So I'm glad that you're providing that educational component too.
Yes, and thank you to, you know, Marty Martz and her team that really, in the first year that they did it, they did a tremendous job, and why not expose that to so many more people? And so it should be a great collaboration. And of course we have the DCNR educational staff doing a bunch of great things that weekend and all throughout the year, which you can find online.
So tell me again, what is the weekend for Discover Presque Isle?
Discover Presque Isle is always the last full weekend in July. So this year it's July 29th through the 31st.
And then when do the events start at the beginning of the day, and then when do they kind of wrap up at the end?
Generally, the events start on Friday at about 11 to noon.
Okay.
And then they'll go to about Sunday at 4 o'clock. And those are typical vendor times, but so many different events and activities are just jam-packed in between them.
And I love the cute little retail shops that come and, you know, sell their trinkets or, you know, their soaps or whatever, vendors have applied this year and are selling their little goodies. I have so much fun, you know, spending my money, you know, at the food vendors, and then, like I said, buying some trinkets for myself.
Yeah.
But tell me, what other projects are you doing, and how are they funded?
Well, our projects are funded through all the events and all the fundraising and all the grants and all the registrations that come in. So if you want to do the base swim, the triathlon, the fall foliage wagon ride, that will help pay for the cost to host the event, but then proceeds will go back into our fund to do projects. And we've done a number of great improvements to the park over the years, most notably, especially because of Best Summer Night and the amount that grossed, upgrades to the Perry Monument, the lighting, the new pavilion, recycled aluminum picnic tables. The second Best Summer Night benefited the Presque Isle Lighthouse and sort of jump-started that restoration, which is now a separate organization.
Sure.
Just so everybody knows, because there's the Friends of the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, and they focus on the Ridge Center and education and bringing people into the building. Then there's Presque Isle Partnership. We're mainly down on the park doing these fun events and whatnot to help Presque Isle. Although Presque Isle and the Tom Ridge Center are considered one and the same. And then there's the Presque Isle Light Station organization, which is solely responsible for managing the lighthouse and making sure that the people can get in there for tours and events and all that stuff. So, like I said, the Presque Isle Lighthouse was a project of ours in the beginning. We did a turtle observation deck at Graveyard Pond. We did the Waterworks Playground, which is really, really nice playground. And right now we're working on securing some more picnic tables for the park, looking at restoring some of the picnic shelters. And then, of course, we're working on our nature play space out at Beach 11 do a nice inviting playground out there, because that is a nice family beach. So it'd be nice to get some people spread out around the park a little bit more, and Beach 11 is just perfect for families.
It is. It's great for pulling up your boat. Like you said, it's going to have that playground. It's got concession stands, the volleyball, beach volleyball. Tell me, what were some of the things that were done to the Perry Monument restoration and to the lighthouse restoration? What were some of the projects that happened under that?
Well, the Perry Monument lighting is now ran off solar. We have a solar panel out there that feeds electricity right into the grid, and then we receive credits from that. So it's updated LED lighting that changes all different colors for all different seasons and holidays and things like that. Brand new pavilion, a bunch of new recycled aluminum picnic tables. When I say recycled aluminum, it's like, think about like a stadium that wanted to put new bleachers in.
Yep.
They salvaged the bleachers, and now those are park benches.
Yeah.
And they do a special coat of powder coating. A local company, Advanced Finishing USA, did them, where it looks like a wood grain.
Yeah.
So it's very fitting.
Yeah.
It's really unique.
It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, but we've used recycled materials to make these.
Yes. So it's really great, and we're always trying to be conscientious of what we're purchasing and what we're putting onto the park.
Right, right. And you do such a good job at that. And like I said, I know we have a lot of conversations and becoming, closer and closer to, zero waste and becoming sustainable. But you already are doing so much of that already. I mean, you're doing a wonderful job. I'm so excited that you're there.
we try. It's within the mission of the state park system to be as environmentally conscious as possible, and we kind of govern ourselves. Although we have our own set of bylaws, we look to how the park operates and try to fit in with that as best we can.
Sure, and I did hear you mention earlier that the Nature Shop changed names, and now it's going to be the Presque Gallery and Gifts. But tell me, what can we find there? Because that, again, is one of my Christmas lists. I write down, that's where I want my gifts to be purchased from. So tell me, what can we find? What can our viewers find there?
The Presque Gallery and Gift Shop is definitely a gem. It's located in the Tom Ridge Environmental Center. All proceeds, by the way, from the Presque Gallery and Gifts go back into the park. It's under the Presque Partnership umbrella. And there is so many coastal items. There's beach glass jewelry. We have a lot of artists having their work in there on consignment, different sort of wood carvings and paintings and drawings and jewelry. A lot of fun, unique stuff for anyone that is into that coastal living kind of. Presque apparel of all sorts. It's a really unique gallery and gift shop.
It is. It's wonderful. I love the coastal decor. That's my favorite. And last time I was there, I picked up a really great map of all the shipwrecks in Lake Erie. So that's my other hobby. I love shipwrecks. So, but I'm glad you touched on that. And when is what are the hours for the not the Nature Shop, but the Presque Gallery and Gifts?
It is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I always tell people, if you're looking for a gift for somebody, it's a great place to shop. You'll find something so unique. And the building itself is just great. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. You go in there, you get to check out all the wonderful exhibits we have in the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, and then you can do some great shopping while you're there.
So true, so true. And then you can go to the top of the tower, come down, get some gifts, some souvenirs for your loved ones, and then head out onto the park. Tell me, how can folks support the partnership, and where can they find out more information? Now, you've got a great website, wonderful Facebook page. Go ahead and tell our viewers where they can find all of that information.
You can find all that information on our website, www.discoverpi.com. There are a variety of ways you can support the park and the partnership through membership of the Presque Partnership, a donation. We have a memorial bench program. We sell the Presque Lighthouse license plate, which benefits the Presque Lighthouse. There are just a plethora of ways you can do that. If you are looking for something to put in your will, and you love Presque Isle and you want to see that go to a good cause, certainly contact us at the partnership, me directly. It's all on the website, and the more people contact me and we're out there getting feedback and how can we improve the park, the better.
Sure. And tell our viewers, what's your phone number and your email address?
My phone number is 838-5138, area code 814. My email address is jon@discoverpi.com.
Wonderful. John, is there anything that you want our viewers to know, maybe that we didn't get to touch on yet, or just, quickly, briefly? I know we have to, unfortunately, wrap up the show, but what would you like them to know?
Well, I would just like to say that it's Presque Isle. It's a state park. As a PA resident, you're a taxpayer. it's your park. So take care of it. If you see trash, pick it up. If you're walking your dog, keep your dog on a leash and make sure you pick up after your dog. Drive the speed limit. The speed limit on the park is 25 miles per hour.
Right, drive 25.
Drive 25. There's a campaign going on right now about that. PI Drive 25. And just, like I said, take care of it. Enjoy it. If you have guests, make sure to bring them down to the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, to the park. Show them what we have in our backyard, and let's not take this for granted.
So true. John, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really, really appreciate it. Folks, you have to get down to the Tom Ridge Environmental Center and check out the gift shop. Also, be sure to give John an email or a phone call. His events are wonderful. So if you haven't been down there yet, be sure to check out Discover Presque Isle Days or come down to the Wednesday concert series. You are going to love them. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.